On April 11, 2015, President Barack Obama was seen shaking hands with the Cuban president. This was one of the first steps in over 60 years of being able to reconcile with the two nations after many different complications in around the 1940s through 60s. Some background information on our relationship with Cuba is the Cuban Missile Crisis, nuclear warfare, and when Cuba became a union with the Soviet Union, which also led to them becoming communistic, which was against what the Americans believed in and were fighting for. They were fighting for a democracy to be spread all over, and the fact that a nation only a few miles off of their coast of Florida was turning into communism scared us greatly and led to many different complications. The Cuban Missile Crisis was the USSR's or the Soviet Union's response into the failed Bay of Pigs attack in 1961. And this is where they decided to accept Cuba's request by putting nuclear weapons in Cuba, which was a great tear to the United States. After all, it was only a couple miles off the coast of Florida, which also led to many other problems arising as long as the nuclear war arms race and etc. The goals of being able to be in communication with Cuba again is to, of course, regain communication, to make the two countries at peace, to make travel and trade between the two countries more easy, and also to find a way to accept the different forms of government, because I feel as president that it is very important for us as a democracy to be able to accept other ways of government that might work best for other countries, which can also lead to us being able to accept monarchy and, yes, communism. Though these are things that we might deal greatly against, I believe that this is something that should not be able to differ from nation to nation, and we should all be able to accept and move on through it with each other. The steps to reconciliation is, I think that first the United States should be making a public announcement to inform the public about what the goals are with talking to Cuba again. It's not the fact that we want to accept communism, but it's the fact that we want to move past the differences of communism. I also feel like holding public votes to see what the public thinks in the very beginning is very beneficial. And then after the public, if they vote so, to continue with the process of going back to Cuba, they could have a meeting with me and the president of Cuba and figure out a way to make peace, to figure out different ways of trade, like different military regulations we can each have with each other. And then also I believe that we just hold another vote at the very end of the agreements that we make with Cuba to see how the public reacts to it. After all, this is something that the public will be viewed with, not just the government. And I think it's very important for the people to have more say in what we do with more foreign trade and foreign affairs, especially with Cuba, which we had many issues with for over the past 60 years. What this process can mean for the future is understanding differences, especially with government. The whole topic of democracy is very touchy-feely in the United States, and I believe that as president, I should try and make it so we are more accepting of differences, especially with government, because what our government may work for us very well, it may not work for the next countries, and I think that there's also ideas that each country can take and receive from each other to make it safer. Also, I believe that communicating with Russia Cuba can also help us with reconnecting with Russia, because there are many, many problems, as we all know, with the United States and Russia as being unsafe for us to go there, kidnapping, ransoms, and all those things. I believe that if we are able to reconnect with Cuba after these years, that these could be the right steps, and to be able to regain friendship with Russia. And also that would make the world safer. After all, those two main superpowers of the United States and Russia becoming one unity could mean much, much greatness for the rest of the world, along with our two countries and all the benefits that will come along with it. And that is my plan and proposal for us recommunicating with Cuba.